are the Vaishyas, and the Shudras are under the protection of his feet. All the worshipable demigods are also overtaken by him, and it is the duty of everyone to perform sacrifices with feasible goods to appease the Lord. Would anyone like to read the purport, please? Read.
I can read, Mataji.
Sure. Thank you, Mataji.
Monotheism is practically suggested here. Offering sacrifices to many demigods under different names is mentioned in the Vedic literatures, but the suggestion made in this verse is that all those varieties of demigods are included in the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are only the parts and parcels of the original whole. Similarly, the divisions of the orders of human society, namely the Brahmanas, the intelligent class, the Kshatriyas, the administrators, the Vaishyas, the mercantile community, and the Shudras, the laborer class, are all included in the body of the Supreme. As such, sacrifice by every one of them in the terms of pleasing the Supreme by feasible goods is recommended. Generally, the sacrifice is offered with clarified butter and grains, but with the progress of time, human society has produced varieties of goods by transforming materials supplied by God's material nature. Human society, therefore, must learn to offer sacrifices not only with clarified butter, but also with other manufactured goods in the propagation of the Lord's glory, and that will bring about perfection in human society. The intelligent class of men or Brahmanas may give direction for such sacrifices in consultation with the previous acharyas. The administrators may give all facilities to perform such sacrifices. The Vaishya class or mercantile community who produce such goods may offer them for sacrifice, and the Shudra class may offer their manual labor for the successful termination of such sacrifice. Thus, by the cooperation of all classes of human beings, the sacrifice recommended in this age, namely the sacrifice of congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord, may be executed for the common welfare of all the people of the world. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. ॐ अज्ञानातिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं मुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। मुखं करोति वाचलं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपादवहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदीनतारणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। So we are continuing the description of the Virata Purusha, and we see the universal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are continuing to understand that how everything is connected, is related to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and that how nothing within this creation is independent of the Supreme Lord, and that how everything has its origin in the Supreme Lord, and not only in terms of creation, but if we actually see in terms of existence as well, every aspect of material nature is connected to Krishna. It is said in the scriptures that when living beings desired independence from Krishna, from the Supreme Lord, then Krishna arranged for this material world for us. Therefore, this material world in itself is not a very pleasing arrangement for the Lord. But because we insisted, we desired to be independent of Krishna, so Krishna said, all right, here you go, take it. And but after when we read, Srīmad Bhāgavatam, we understand that how far our dependence is there on the Supreme Lord. Even though we desire to be independent, but how every aspect of this material nature reminds us of Krishna. Some people think that they believe in a very remote concept of God, like, okay, God is a person who created this world, and then after creation, he's very far away. But through Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that how closely we are connected, that everything within this world is, in verse number 33, purport to that verse, Prabhupada writes that not a blade of grass moves without his will. So we see how that without Krishna's sanction, all our bodily functions, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that I am the digestive fire. So everything is connected. We are dependent on Krishna for so many things, and therefore, at every moment we are encountering Krishna. We are meditating on the Supreme Lord, and therefore that's such a nice way for a devotee. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. That for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost to them, nor is he ever lost to me. In particular, in purport to this verse, Prabhupada points out that how when a person is Krishna conscious, even though it appears that they are seeing different, they're seeing different separate manifestation of the material nature, but in each and every instance, they are very conscious of Krishna. They're reminded of Krishna, and they know that everything is actually a manifestation of Krishna's energy. That and such Krishna conscious devotees, they understand that nothing can exist without Krishna, because Krishna is the Lord of everything. And Prabhupada writes that is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness, that we are remembering Krishna in a devotional mood, in a like how the definition of devotional service given by Rupa Goswami is Anya Bilashita Sunyam Jnana Karma Dhyana Vritam Anukulyena Krishnano Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. That means we are practicing this devotion. We are looking at Krishna with love, with devotion, pleasing, favorable for Krishna. Here my Guru Maharaj says that when we look at the world, material nature like that we are seeing Krishna's presence everywhere, then we realize the statement that Srila Prabodhananda Saraswati makes, which is Vishwam Purna Sukhayate. That for such a devotee who has become Krishna, or a person who has become Krishna conscious by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, he is, for him, the entire world appears to be a happy place. Purna Sukhayate. And such a devotee is not hankering. There is nothing in this world that can entice a devotee. He is not hankering for anything. And in this particular verse, we see how different varnas are manifesting from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The very first verse of this, very first word of this verse is Brahmananam. That means the face of the Virata Purusha is the Brahmanas. And Brahmanas, when we say the face, it basically, it specifically means the mouth of the Supreme Lord. The Brahmanas, it is said, they speak on behalf of the Supreme Lord, and they also sometimes eat on behalf of the Supreme Lord. When offerings are made to the Brahmanas, they accept those offerings on behalf of the Supreme. And therefore we see that how in this system of Varnashrama that Krishna has created, Brahmanas are having a very special function. And that's why when we do the offering, we say Namo Brahmanaya Devaya Go Brahmanahitacha. That means these Brahmanas are very close, very dear to Krishna, because the Brahmanas are actually directly fulfilling the purpose of Krishna. They are like not so much in the other varnas. Of course, Kshatriyas also have a spirit of sacrifice. They are also, they protect the principles of religion. They uphold the principles of dharma, and they also check against those who are unable to follow the principles of religion, but not so. We don't see the spirit of sacrifice in other varnas, namely Vaishyas and Shudras. Vaishyas, they are meant to generate facility, but there is always some personal interest. For Vaishyas, the mercantile community, Prabhupada says in the bracket, they are always interested. For them, profit is a driving factor. They are always interested. Unless there is profit, why would they work hard? But then, with this system, we understand this Varnashrama system, that after practicing such a system, they purify this tendency of, looking for profit by being charitable. That's why we see that, it is recommended in Shastras to be charitable. Kshatriyas, and then comes Shudras. So Shudras are, in material world, or in the Shastras, it is said that in this material world, everyone is a Shudra. There are no Brahmanas left, no Kshatriyas left, no Vaishyas left. Because everyone is a Shudra, because everyone, Kshatriya's tendency is to act according to their own nature, according to their own feelings. And that's why we see in this modern world that, people, they use this word so often. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing this. Because they work according to their feelings. And for them, when they look at scriptures or they look at principles of dharma, they look at it as, oh yeah, it's nice, but they're very impractical. They're not very practical in this modern day world. And that's why we see when we tell someone about our lifestyle, that, oh, I wake up at 4 o'clock, I do this. And so that doesn't, they think that it's very impractical to do what you people are doing. If you tell them about about your weekend, then they just, and that how busy your weekend was, and they don't understand this, they are unable to understand the lifestyle that we have, because for them, a weekend, they associate weekend with relaxation, and we are doing opposite of that. So, that's why we say that everyone in this material world is a Shudra. For them, when they look at these principles of religion or scriptures, if we ask someone to wake up early or chant, or at least wake up early, or have a sattvic a diet, vegetarian diet, this seems very impractical to them. But as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that Chaturvarnam Maya Shishtam Guna Karma Bhagasha. This is the arrangement that is given by Krishna. And this arrangement of Krishna, of course, we see it's not very, we don't see that people be practicing that. But again, Prabhupada has given us such a community where when we are practicing bhakti, then we automatically see that we are some siddhi haritoshanam. That means when we are practicing Krishna consciousness, then we are able to please the Lord that way. Therefore, we see that Krishna has made this arrangement to disseminate knowledge. Because Krishna is, anything that Krishna does in this world is to deliver us, to deliver the conditioned souls. And then when we are looking at this whole arrangement of the material universe, when we are looking at this Virata Purusha, when we are looking at this description of universal form, we see that so many verses in the previous verses that we have seen, that everything is connected with Krishna. And that's why, because Krishna knows that when we are reminded of him, then only we can go back to him. In previous verse, we see that it has been mentioned that artistic senses, the laws of Manu, and also musical ragas and rhythms. So in other words, that Lord is actually, he's disseminating this, so many aspects of culture, which are helpful for uplifting our consciousness, especially of the conditioned souls, And therefore, we see throughout this chapter, we will see that how we can see Krishna's merciful hand, how Krishna has made this entire universe in a way, because Krishna has this eagerness to deliver the conditioned souls. Prabhupada, in this regard, he says, one of the verses of Bhagavad Gita, Chaturshloki verses, the last verse of the Chaturshloki 10.11, Tesham evanukam partham aham ajnana jam tamaha. In purport to that verse, Prabhupada says that he points out basically that how Supreme Lord is more eager to deliver the conditioned souls than the conditioned souls themselves are. And that's the fact. Krishna is always looking for opportunities to bring us back to Krishna, to bring us back to Godhead. And in the third line of this verse, Teshami Vanukam Partham, the third line is Nashyami Atma Bhavasto. Prabhupada points out that within the conscious Supreme Lord is waiting within the consciousness of the living being. And as soon as the living entity is showing some inclination towards Krishna, Krishna is already showering his mercy upon us. And that's why we say that when we take one step towards Krishna, Krishna is taking 10 steps towards us. And immediately, when we show that inclination, Krishna begins to reveal his presence. And that is the idea of the entire universe. It is said that in Canto 1, Chapter 2, Vasudeva para Veda, Vasudeva para Maka, Vasudeva para Kriya, Vasudeva para Yoga. That the ultimate object, Vasudeva para Veda, ultimate object of all knowledge is Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And in purport to this particular verse, Prabhupada is pointing out various aspects of knowledge. That how when we are cultivating knowledge, what changes a living entity goes through. Then Prabhupada points out that how one becomes prideless, how one becomes non-violent, how one becomes tolerant, forbearing. Then we develop this kind of renunciation from our home, from the family members. We become very conscious of the miseries of birth, death, old age, disease. And then Prabhupada points out that all the cultivation of knowledge culminates in devotional service to Krishna. Therefore, the Vasudev is actually the ultimate aim in cultivating different types of knowledge. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu once asked Ramananda Rai that what is the most important type of education? And Ramananda Rai said that there is no important education other than the education about devotional service. Therefore, Vasudeva Paraveda, purpose of all the knowledge is to serve Krishna. And Prabhupada used to give this example that how the material knowledge is zero, is simply zero, but you just simply put one Krishna before and all the zeros become valuable. Therefore, in other words, mundane knowledge is when it's connected with devotional service, only then it can be useful. And therefore, devotional service, what is the point of anything in life without devotional service? Then next it says Vasudeva Paramaka, that ultimately all the sacrifices are meant for the pleasure of Krishna. And if we analyze, mostly people in India, they believe in this concept of karma kanda and this philosophy, and it's very deep rooted. If we actually analyze that, how people are, what will I get? Like the Brahmanas or the Pandits, so-called Pandits, they'll say, Monday go to this temple, Tuesday go to Lord Hanuman temple, Wednesday go to Lord Ganesha, Thursday some other temple, Friday Goddess Santoshi, Saturday Lord Shanidev, like that. They are always looking for some temporary material benefits. But when we reach Srimad Bhagavatam, we understand that how it is such a wonderful scripture, and we are so fortunate because it is completely dedicated in pleasing the senses of the Supreme Lord, Rishikena, Rishikesha, that it is only designed, it's not designed for any ulterior motive. We are not reading Bhagavatam for any personal motive. We are reading Bhagavatam to develop love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vrindavan Das Thakur in Chaitanya Bhagavat writes, quotes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and says that, he said that Bhagavatam in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end is only describing pure devotional service to the Lord. And therefore, when we are looking at this particular chapter describing Virata Purusha, describing the universal form of Lord, we are looking at this chapter in the context of entire Bhagavatam. We are not looking at the isolated concept of Virata Purusha, but rather we are looking at Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and simply this Virata Purusha is just revealing the presence of Krishna. Then Prabhupada says in the translation and also in the purport that how there's description about different demigods, that how all these varieties of demigods are included in the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means the demigods are also deriving their power from Krishna. And when we are making any offerings to the demigods, ultimately they are also offering to Krishna. So ultimately, how in I think in Bhagavad Gita also Prabhupada gives this example that how when we are watering the root of the plant, then automatically the whole plant is nourished. So when we are serving Krishna, then all the obligations that we have towards demigods or to Mother Earth, they are all fulfilled because we are serving Krishna directly. Prabhupada says in the purport that how offering sacrifices, initially it meant generally the sacrifice is offered with clarified butter and grains. But with the progress of time, human society has produced varieties of goods by transforming materials supplied by God's material nature. Therefore, Prabhupada is saying that, of course, generally, traditionally, the offerings were made of ghee only. And that's how that used to be offered to Krishna. But because with, we see that how human beings have made this extensive arrangement with the material energy, and how, human beings have expanded their endeavors into creating so many things. So therefore, we should offer the fruits of our labor also to Krishna. But the point here is that the principle of sacrifice still remains. So whatever we obtain from our labor, whatever we are endeavoring, we have to engage that in Krishna's service. And then again, at the end, Prabhupada is referring to the Yuga Dharma, the chanting of the holy name. And then Prabhupada also says here that, I think I read it somewhere here, that we offer these sacrifices in the propagation of Lord's glory. So basically we are utilizing our material assets in service to the Lord. And if we don't utilize, why Prabhupada is saying that we must use our assets to propagate the Sankirtan movement, because if we don't utilize what we have in Krishna's service, then the same objects, that we have, they actually cover our consciousness. And when they cover our consciousness, then what happens is, then we have a great danger that we may forget Krishna. And that's why we say, padam padam yad vipadam, that at every step in this material world is danger. Therefore, we have to protect our consciousness. We have to live a life in a way that we protect ourselves from the distractions, which can make us forget Krishna. And again, Prabhupada has given us such a beautiful movement where we are constantly reminded of Krishna. If we take our phone, we just switch on YouTube, we can listen to a class like that. So as long as we are in the process of Shravanam Kirtanam, then we are safe. As long as we are glorifying Krishna, as long as we are worshipping Krishna, as long as we are serving in the association of devotees, we can remember the Supreme. And that is actually the purpose of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is, if we actually see every purport, every word of this of Srimad Bhagavatam is reminding us of Krishna. So it helps us in a very thorough way to see that how everything is so intimately connected with Krishna. And again, in this particular section of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is giving us, such beautiful descriptions of the Virata Purusha, that how this concept of Virata Purusha is, we are seeing that as in the context of entire Bhagavatam. In the next verse, Prabhupada translates this. It is described that the Virata Purusha is the gross, material, gigantic conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when we are studying, when we are spending our time by studying this gross material conception of the personality of Godhead, behind that personality, that gross conception, we are actually seeing Govindam Adi Purusham. We are seeing that original Purusha. We are seeing that Tribhangi form of Krishna, who's playing flute and who is so very eager to call us. He's very eager for us to come back to him. I'll stop here and see if anyone has any questions, any comments, or any realizations. Sorry, it's 7:01. All right. Thank you everyone for joining. Hare Krishna. Have a blissful Krishna conscious day. Hope to see you all tomorrow.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you for a very practical class, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, that is beautiful. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.